Hi everyone. The question today is, what are we all so afraid of? I love this question. And let me tell you, it's not that we're afraid, it's that there's a part of our character that is afraid. That part is called our ego. Our ego can be described in many, many ways. One of the ways that I'm going to tell you is that the ego is that part of us that actually protects us from change. Now, there's so many different types of fears. But the biggest type of fear is fear of change, and that fear gradually becomes greater and greater over the course of time. That means that when we are in our 20s, we're completely flexible about everything, about our relationship, about whatever it is that we're going to learn. When we pass our 30s and 40s, we become more constant. Our beliefs kind of materialize. We don't like to change. We argue about our opinions. We also gracefully accept other people's opinions, but we don't change that much. And you will notice that in the speaking patterns, learning new languages and new skills, everything kind of like degrades over time. Now, that part of us that is afraid, and I'm not talking about specific fears. I'm not talking about fear of height or fear of talking in society and stuff like that. I'm talking about mostly about fear of change, fear of not having, okay? Fear of not being enough for ourselves and for others, not having enough money, not looking enough, better like we used to and stuff like that. These are all type of fears. The ego is that part of us that protects those fears. The way that it uses them, the mechanism that the ego uses in order to protect us is by introducing those fears. And I'll give you an example. We don't go out that much like we used to, right? But when we do go out, we have a good time. And then afterwards, we tell ourselves, why don't we go out more? When we do go out, whatever, with friends, going out to the movies, whatever. But then when somebody calls us 2 weeks later and we say, no, forget about it. I'll stay at home like always, or watch Netflix, and we forget. Why? Because when we were there, it was fine and we had a good time. But then again, when we're out of that, the ego protects us from any change. Change can also be going out from home, meeting new people, changing a job, changing things in our life, starting a new skill, everything. That's the fear. Now, of course, there's phobias, there's specific fears, everybody has their own different thing, but this is the main reason. Now, what can we do? Some people say that we should fight the fear. So if you have a fear of height, go and, jump or climb the Everest or take up bungee jumping as a habit and stuff like that. Other people say confront the fear in a different way. Accept the fear. Look at the fear. Become, aware of the fear and work with it. I say don't look the other way. Work on reducing your ego. And when you work on reducing your ego, by itself, the fear will disappear because you become a higher intellect. You become more aware. How can you reduce your ego? Recognize it. Recognize when your ego is making decisions for you. For example, in an argument. In an argument, it's just an ego arguing with an ego. What is it doing? This ego is protecting its belief system. It's protecting itself from what it thinks is being hurt or disagreed with. And this ego is doing exactly the same thing. So what you have is both negativity. If one of you will step outside and observe the conversation from a higher perspective, one of you will actually give more love and emanate agreement and acceptance, but not in a way that I don't agree, I'm just saying it to end the argument. In a way that I truly agree, and I prefer to walk the path of love and not be correct or be more than you are, When you minimize that ego, when you observe the ego, eventually what you're going to see is you're going to have less fears. Why? It's a vibration. You're not going to believe it, but fear is a vibration. It's a lower vibration than love. So the more we love ourselves and others and humanity and creation and God, the less fears we will see in our life, and the less reality will show us reasons to be afraid. Okay? For example, imagine I'm ugly as hell. But I embrace myself and I accept myself, and I know there's absolutely nothing I can do about it when I look in the mirror, okay? Imagine being fearful of what people are going to say about me and going and finding surgeries and doing everything that I can and being in love and acceptance of the way that I look. Again, I'm taking just one small example, the way that I look only. What will happen with society when society sees that I embrace myself as I am? What happens is that people start loving you more, and you actually begin to change your pattern. Your face has more geometric shapes. The wrinkles that are going to come are wrinkles of happiness. These wrinkles here of people that smile more, people that are, more content with reality. So again, we're shifting from that fear-based into love. What happens when I start being my true self, accepting myself, the way that I describe things, the way that I pronounce things, the way that I perceive things, and I'm clear with myself? It doesn't mean that I'm right and they're wrong. When I don't have that fear of telling other people, because what is the fear of telling other people, or what is stage fear? Being in front of other people, explaining and showing things, and I'm afraid of their opinion of me. So when I love and I accept, I don't have that fear anymore. I am on the stage. People want to be next to me. People want to listen to whatever it is that I have to say. People want to learn. We have that fear inside ourselves, conscious or non-conscious. Our ego has that fear in society. So again, when we learn to be that, this no longer exists because this is a higher vibration. And I can give you 20 more examples of how this works, of course. There's fear of abandonment. We have to look up the source, where it came from. Mom, dad, a girlfriend that abandoned you when you were very, very young, or relationship and stuff like that. You have to forgive and accept, and then love yourself. And the fear of abandonment, the best thing to work on is self-love. In other words, I don't need anybody else. Everybody else is a bonus. It's great. I love having them in my life, but I can also be with myself. By the way, you see a lot of celebrities that are very stable, like Keanu Reeves, for example. They love being with themselves. They don't need a lot of other people. They don't need the appreciation, the love that society puts upon them, because they get addicted to that, and then you need it, anything that is outside of yourself, in order to feel better with yourself, when you actually can be just in harmony with being with yourself. Now, how do we get there? In this specific example, spend more time with yourself. Bored. Not on TikTok, not on WhatsApp, not on Instagram, not on Facebook, with yourself. Take a long walk every day. You will see that you love being with yourself. The ideas that are coming, the creativity, the decisions, when you clear your mind and your body is busy, this is like a meditative kind of state. So, I hope I answered this question. Again, I'm trying not to give too thorough of an answer because I can talk about it for like 20 minutes. Let's move on to the next question.